The smell of burnt metal and oil filled the air inside Hyun-woo's workshop on Kepler Station. Sparks flew from his welding torch as he worked on a broken mining drill. The small room was packed with tools, spare parts, and half-finished projects. Wires hung from the ceiling like jungle vines. Old engine parts were stacked in every corner. Hyun-woo wiped sweat from his forehead with a dirty rag. He was 32 years old, with rough hands and kind eyes. Most people on the station thought he was strange. He talked to his machines like they were friends. He fixed things that other people said were broken forever. But Hyun-woo believed everything could be fixed with enough time and care. Kepler Station sat on the edge of known space. It was built inside a large asteroid that had been hollowed out long ago. The station was not beautiful. Its metal walls were old and stained. The air recyclers made strange noises. But it was home to 300 humans and served as a meeting place for many different alien species. Ships came and went every day. Traders brought goods from across the galaxy. Miners stopped to sell their finds. Scientists studied strange rocks and alien plants. The docking bays were always busy with the sounds of different languages and the hiss of ship engines cooling down. Commander Yoonji ran the station with a firm hand. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had been in space for 20 years and had seen every kind of trouble. The crew respected her because she was fair and always put their safety first. It was early morning when the emergency alarm rang through the station. Han-woo looked up from his work as the red lights flashed. Commander Yoonji's voice came through the speakers. All crew to emergency stations. Unknown life form found in docking bay 3. Han-woo set down his tools and hurried to the docking bay. A crowd had already gathered around something on the metal floor. Security guards kept everyone back while Dr. So-young knelt beside a small creature. The creature was about the size of a large dog but looked like a tiny dragon. Its scales were deep purple with silver edges that caught the light. It had 4 legs, a long tail, and small wings that were folded against its back. Its head was shaped like a snake's but with larger eyes that were closed tight. Is it dead? Someone whispered. Dr. So-young shook her head. No, it's breathing, but it seems very weak. The creature made a soft sound like a kitten mewing. It tried to lift its head but couldn't. Its body shook with each breath. What kind of alien is it? Asked Min-ho, a young engineer who worked with Hyun-woo sometimes. Drakmari, said Dr. So-young. I've only seen pictures in books. They're supposed to be very rare. This one is just a baby. Commander Yoonji pushed through the crowd. She looked down at the small creature with worried eyes. How did it get here? We found it near the waste disposal port, said a security guard. It was alone, no ship nearby. No sign of parents. The baby dragon tried to open its eyes, but they stayed shut. It made another soft crying sound that made everyone feel sad. We need to help it, said Dr. So-young. But I don't know much about Drakomari biology. Our medical equipment might not work on it. Commander Yoonji frowned. The station had rules about helping aliens, but she couldn't leave a baby to die. Take it to the medical bay, do what you can. Hours passed. Han-woo tried to work on his projects but couldn't stop thinking about the small dragon. He had always been good with hurt animals. As a child on Earth, he had helped injured birds and stray cats. Something about helpless creatures made his heart ache. That evening, Commander Yoonji came to his workshop. She looked tired and worried. The little dragon isn't getting better, she said. Dr. So-young thinks it might be blind. Its eyes won't open no matter what she tries. She's afraid to give it medicine because she doesn't know how it will react. Hyun-woo set down his wrench. Why are you telling me this? Because you fix things that can't be fixed, she said. Maybe you can help where our doctors can't. Hyun-woo followed her to the medical bay. The small dragon lay on a soft blanket under warm lights. It was awake now, but its eyes were still closed. When it heard footsteps, it lifted its head and made questioning sounds. Dr. So-young looked up from her computer. I've been reading everything I can find about Drakmari. They're supposed to have excellent eyesight, better than humans. But this little one seems completely blind. Hyun-woo knelt beside the blanket. The dragon turned its head toward him as if it could sense his presence. Slowly, Hyun-woo reached out his hand. The dragon sniffed his fingers, then rubbed its small head against his palm like a cat seeking affection. "Hello there," Hyun-woo said softly. "You're scared, aren't you?" The dragon made a gentle chirping sound. It seemed to understand that Hyun-woo wanted to help. With careful movements, Hyun-woo examined the creature's closed eyes. The eyelids looked normal, but they wouldn't open. "I think the eyes never developed right," he said. "The muscles and nerves are there, but something is missing. Can you fix it?" Asked Commander Eun-Jida. Hyun-woo was quiet for a long moment. He had fixed many broken things in his life. Engines, computers, life support systems. But he had never tried to give sight to a blind creature. Especially an alien creature. The small dragon made another soft sound and pressed closer to his hand. In that moment, Hyun-woo made his decision. "I don't know," he said. "But I'm going to try." He picked up the dragon carefully. It was heavier, and it looked but felt warm and alive in his arms. The creature settled against his chest with a contented sigh. "What will you call it?" asked Dr. So-Young. Hyun-woo looked down at the purple scales that shimmered in the light. "Bora," he said. "It means purple in Korean." As he carried Bora back to his workshop, Hyun-woo's mind was already working on the problem. He had neural interface equipment for connecting human brains to computers. He had sensors that could detect light and heat and electromagnetic fields. Somewhere in his collection of parts and tools there might be a way to give sight to a blind. Dragon. Bora chirped softly as they walked through the station's corridors. For the first time since being found, she seemed calm and hopeful. She didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. And through her, the fate of the entire galaxy would change too. Hyun-woo's workshop became busier than ever. Bora had made herself at home in a corner where he had built her a soft bed from old ship cushions. She followed the sounds of his work, chirping when she wanted attention and purring when he petted her scales. Each day she grew a little bigger and more curious about the world she could not see. The mechanic spent every free moment studying neural interface technology. His computer screen showed brain diagrams and electrical patterns. Books about alien biology were scattered across his workbench. Dr. So-Young visited often to share what she had learned about Drakmari physiology. "Their brains are more complex than human brains," she explained while Bora listened from her bed. "They have extra sections that seem designed for processing electromagnetic fields. Maybe that's why they're such good pilots and navigators." Minho helped with the technical work. The young engineer was excited about the project and brought new ideas every day. Together, they took apart old neural headsets that were used for controlling mining equipment. The devices were designed to read human thoughts and turn them into machine commands. "We need to reverse the process," Hyun-woo said as he examined the delicate wires and circuits. "Instead of reading thoughts, we need to send visual information directly to her brain." The work was harder than anything Hyun-woo had ever attempted. Human neural interfaces were well understood after decades of development, but Drakmari brains were different. They had to guess how Bora's mind worked based on limited information and careful observation. Their first attempts failed completely. The prototype helmet was too heavy and uncomfortable. Bora shook her head and pushed it away with her claws. The electrical signals were too strong and made her cry in pain. Hyun-woo felt terrible seeing her distress. "Maybe this is impossible," Minho said after their fifth failure, but Hyun-woo refused to give up. He worked late into the night, adjusting the circuits and making the helmet smaller and lighter. He studied how Bora moved and reacted to sounds. He noticed that she could sense metal objects without touching them, as if she could feel the electromagnetic fields around them. Dr. So-Young brought him coffee and food when he forgot to eat. "You're pushing yourself too hard," she warned. "You need to rest." "Bora needs to see," he replied, not looking up from his work. "I can rest after she can see." Week after week, the helmet slowly improved. Hyun-woo built it from lightweight materials that wouldn't hurt Bora's head. The neural connectors were made to match the shape of her skull. The sensors were programmed to detect different types of light and energy that human eyes could not see. Bora seemed to understand that Hyun-woo was trying to help her. She sat patiently while he tested each new version. Sometimes she would touch the helmet with her nose, as if trying to understand what it was supposed to do. Her trust in him never wavered even when the tests caused discomfort. The breakthrough came on a cold Tuesday morning. Hyun-woo had been working all night on a new calibration program. This version of the helmet was sleek and silver, shaped to fit perfectly around Bora's head. The sensors were smaller but more sensitive than ever before. "Let's try again," he said gently. Kneeling beside Bora's bed, she lifted her head and allowed him to place the helmet over her closed eyes. Min-ho watched nervously from across the room. Dr. So-young held her breath as Hyun-woo activated the power supply. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Bora made a sound unlike anything they had heard before. It was not pain or fear. It was wonder. Her head turned slowly from side to side. The helmet sensors glowed softly as they translated electromagnetic radiation into signals her brain could understand. She was seeing for the first time in her life. Bora looked directly at Hyun-woo. Though her physical eyes remained closed beneath the helmet, she could see his face, his kind expression, his rough hands that had worked so hard to help her. She made a joyful chirping sound and nuzzled against him like an affectionate cat. "It works," Min-ho whispered in amazement. Bora explored her new vision carefully. She looked at the tools hanging on the walls, the scattered parts on the workbench, the bright lights overhead. Everything was new and wonderful. She could see colors that human eyes could not detect. The electromagnetic fields around electronic devices appeared as glowing patterns of light. Dr. So-young watched with tears in her eyes as Bora discovered her own reflection in a piece of polished metal. The young dragon stared at herself for long minutes, finally understanding what she looked like. "She's beautiful," Hyun-woo said softly. Over the following days, Bora learned to use her new sight. The helmet became as natural to her as her own. Scales, she could see heat signatures, radio waves, and the electrical activity in living creatures. Her vision was different from human sight, but in many ways much better. She began to explore the station with Hyun-woo as her guide. Other crew members were amazed to see the small dragon walking confidently through the corridors, no longer bumping into walls or furniture. She looked at everything with curiosity and joy. But as Bora's vision improved, her behavior began to change in unexpected ways. She started arranging objects in her corner of the workshop, creating complex patterns that seemed to have meaning. She would stare at the walls for hours as if she could see through them into space. Commander Oji visit to see Bora's progress. "The helmet is incredible," she said. "You've given her a whole new life. I think she's trying to tell us something." Hyun-woo replied, watching as Bora pushed metal scraps into a specific formation. "These patterns she makes, they look almost like star charts." Dr. So-young studied the arrangements Bora created. "Some of these formations match real star systems," she confirmed. "But others don't match anything in our databases?" Bora seemed to sense their confusion. She chirped urgently and pointed toward the ceiling with one clawed foot. Through the helmet's sensors, she could see electromagnetic signals that the humans could not detect. Something in space was calling to her, and now that she could see, she was finally able to respond. The helmet had given Bora more than sight. It had awakened abilities that even the humans did not fully understand. And soon, those abilities would change the fate of everyone on Kepler Station. Bora's strange behavior grew stronger each day. She would sit in Hyun-woo's workshop for hours, staring at the metal walls as if she could see something far beyond them. The patterns she created with scraps and tools became more complex. Sometimes she would chirp urgently and point toward different parts of the ceiling, tracking invisible movements across the sky. Hyun-woo watched her with growing concern. The vision helmet had changed her in ways he had not expected. She was no longer the helpless baby dragon he had found. There was an intelligence in her movements, a purpose that seemed almost desperate. "She's trying to communicate something," Dr. So Young observed during one of her visits. She studied the latest pattern Bora had created using bolts, wires, and small engine parts. This arrangement here, it looks like a navigation chart. And this section might represent some kind of danger. Minho brought his tablet computer to compare Bora's patterns with known star maps. Some of these formations match real systems, he confirmed. But they're all very far from here. Weeks of travel even with our fastest ships. Bora heard their conversation and became agitated. She knocked over her latest pattern and started building a new one, working faster than before. This time she used different colored metals to create what looked like two groups of objects facing each other. One group was small and scattered. The other was large and dark. Communications Officer Jae-min had been monitoring unusual signals from deep space. When Commander Yoonji asked him to examine Bora's patterns, he made an alarming discovery. "These coordinates she's showing us," he said, pointing at the tablet screen. "I've been detecting quantum fluctuations from that same region. Very faint, but getting stronger. Something big is moving out there." Han-woo knelt beside Bora and spoke gently. "What are you trying to tell us, girl? What do you see that we can't?" Bora looked directly at him through her vision helmet. She made a series of complex sounds, different from her usual chirps and purrs. The sounds had rhythm and pattern like a language. "She's trying to speak," Dr. So Young realized. "The helmet isn't just giving her sight. It's helping her brain develop in new ways." They spent the next day working to establish better communication with Bora. Hyun-woo modified the helmet to include a basic translation interface, similar to the universal translators used for trade with alien species. It was crude and limited, but it might help bridge the gap between human and Drakmari thought patterns. The breakthrough came when Bora touched the helmet's interface directly with her claw. Suddenly, images flashed on the workshop's main screen. They were fuzzy and strange, like seeing through alien eyes, but they were unmistakably memories. The crew gathered to watch as Bora shared her story through the neural link. They saw her homeworld, a beautiful planet with purple skies and floating islands. They saw her people, adult Drakmari, who were much larger than Bora, with magnificent wings and intelligent eyes. They saw cities built into mountain cliffs and ships that moved through space like living things. But then the images turned dark. Black ships appeared in space around the Drakmari homeworld. These ships were different from anything the humans had seen before. They looked more like machines than vehicles, with no visible windows or decorations. They were perfectly geometric and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The black ships began attacking. But this was not a normal battle. Instead of using weapons, they somehow drained the life from everything they touched. Plants withered, water became poison, and even the rocks began to crumble into dust. Bora's memory showed her being rushed to a small ship by adult Drakmari who spoke in urgent voices. She was too young to understand their words, but their fear was clear. They launched her ship toward human space, just as the Black Fleet surrounded their world. "She's a refugee," Commander Yoonji said quietly. "The only survivor," but Bora shook her head vigorously. She touched the interface again, and new images appeared. These showed not just her homeworld, but dozens of other planets across the galaxy. On each world, the same scene played out. The black ships arrived, drained the life from everything, and moved on to the next target. "They're not just attacking her people," Minho realized. "They're attacking everyone." Bora's next images showed why she had been sent toward human space. The adult Drakmari had somehow known about humans and their technology. They had hoped that human ingenuity might find a way to fight the black ships. Bora was not just a refugee. She was a messenger, but her blindness had prevented her from completing her mission until now. "She needs to contact her people," Hyun-woo said, "to tell them she made it safely and found help." Jae-min shook his head. "Our communication equipment isn't designed for interstellar distances. Even if we boosted the signal, it would take months to reach Drakmari space." Bora chirped urgently and pointed to her helmet. Through the neural interface, she showed them images of quantum communication, a technology that could send messages instantly across any distance. The Drakmari had built such devices, but they required a specific type of electromagnetic signature to activate. She can see quantum fields, Dr. So-Young realized. That's what she's been looking at when she stares through the walls. She can see the quantum network that connects different parts of the galaxy. Working together, they modified the station's communication array to match the specifications Bora provided through her helmet. It was dangerous work. Quantum communication required enormous amounts of energy, and one mistake could destroy the entire station. Hyun-Woo made the final connections while Bora watched through her helmet, guiding him with gentle chirps and gestures. When everything was ready, she touched the interface with both claws and focused all her concentration on the task. The station's lights dimmed as power flowed to the communication array. Energy crackled through the modified circuits. On the main screen, quantum patterns swirled in colors that human eyes could barely process. Bora's message went out into space, traveling faster than light through dimensions that existed beyond normal reality. It carried not just her location and status, but also detailed information about the humans who had helped her. The specifications for Hyun-Woo's vision helmet were included, along with data about human technology and kindness. Message transmitted, Jae-min reported. Quantum signature is stable. Someone out there should receive it within the hour. Bora slumped with exhaustion, but her posture showed relief and satisfaction. She had finally completed her mission. But as the communication array powered down, her helmet detected something that made her eyes widen in alarm. New, quantum signatures were appearing in space around the station. Many of them, and they were getting stronger very quickly. "Commander," Jae-min called out, his voice tight with worry. "We're detecting massive hyperspace fluctuations. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They're big ones." Commander Yoonji activated the station's alert system. "All crew to emergency stations, unknown fleet approaching." Through her helmet, Bora could see them coming. Hundreds of ships, then thousands, all converging on their small station. But these were not the black ships of her nightmares. These ships glowed with the warm light of life and hope. Her message had been received, and the response was beyond anything the humans could have imagined. The emergency alarms echoed through every corridor of Kepler Station. Red lights flashed as crew members ran to their posts. In the command center, screens showed space around the station filling with ships. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands of vessels appearing from hyperspace jumps. Commander Yoonji stood at the main display, her face calm despite the impossible situation. "Count and classification," she ordered. 2,300 ships confirmed, reported Jae-min, his voice shaking slightly. Sizes range from small fighters to massive capital ships. I'm seeing designs from at least 50 different species. Some of these ship types aren't in our databases at all. Captain Taeho activated the station's defensive systems, though everyone knew they would be useless against such a fleet. "Should we prepare to evacuate?" "Wait," Commander Yoonji said. "They're not attacking. Look at their formation." The alien ships had arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around Kepler Station, but their weapons were not targeting the human outpost. Instead, they faced outward, as if protecting the station from some external threat. In Hyun-Woo's workshop, Bora was more excited than anyone had ever seen her. She chirped and danced around the room, her tail swishing with joy. Through her vision helmet, she could see the energy signatures of each ship in the fleet. Many of them were familiar to her. "She recognizes them," Dr. So-Young observed. "These aren't enemies." The largest ship in the fleet moved closer to the station. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of Kepler Station itself. Its hull was black, but not the dead black of the machines from Bora's memories. This was the black of deep space, marked with flowing patterns that seemed to move and shift like living art. A communication signal came from the great ship. When Jae-min opened the channel, a deep voice filled the command center. The voice spoke perfect human English, though there was something ancient and powerful in its tone. "Humans of Kepler Station, I am Elder Namsik of the Drakmari Council. We have received the message of young Bora and have come to honor those who showed kindness to our child. Commander Yunji stepped forward to the communication panel. This is Commander Yunji. We were just trying to help. Bora was hurt and alone. Indeed, the voice replied. And in helping her, you have revealed something remarkable about your species. We have been watching the galaxy for many cycles, but we have never seen such innovation combined with such compassion. On the main screen, an image appeared of Elder Namsik himself. He was a massive Drakmari, easily 20 times larger than Bora. His scales were deep blue-black with silver edges, and his eyes held the wisdom of centuries. But despite his intimidating size, his expression was gentle and kind. I don't understand, Commander Yunji said. Why are there so many ships? We only helped one small dragon. Elder Namsik's image smiled, showing teeth like polished gnomes. Young Bora is more than she appears to be. She is the daughter of our greatest navigator and a member of our royal family. But more importantly, she was chosen as a messenger because of her unique abilities to see quantum fields. Her blindness was considered a tragic flaw that would prevent her from completing her mission. Hyunwoo stepped forward from where he had been listening. But she's not blind anymore. The helmet lets her see better than any of us. Yes, Elder. Namsik said, his gaze focusing on the human mechanic. Your device has done more than restore her sight. It has enhanced her natural abilities beyond what any of our people thought possible. The quantum message she sent was stronger and clearer than anything we have achieved in 1,000 years. Bora chirped happily and moved to stand beside Hyunwoo. Through the visual link, she projected images that appeared on the main screen. These showed the true scope of the fleet surrounding them. The ships you see represent an alliance that has existed in secret for 50,000 years, Elder Namsik explained. Every species here has been saved from extinction by the Drakmari and our allies. We are the guardians of younger civilizations, protecting them from an ancient enemy. The images Bora shared showed the truth behind galactic history. The Drakmari were not just another alien species. They were ancient protectors who had been fighting a secret war for millennia. Dozens of species that humans thought were extinct actually lived in hidden colonies, protected and helped by the Drakmari Alliance. The enemy we fight are called the Devourers, Elder Namsik continued. They are machines that were built long ago by a species that sought immortality. But something went wrong, and they became creatures of pure hunger that consume entire worlds. More images showed the Devourers in detail. They were not truly alive, but were not simple machines either. They had learned to think and plan and hate. Every few thousand years, they emerged from the dark spaces between galaxies to feed on the life force of entire civilizations. The last invasion was 50,000 years ago, Elder Namsik said. We managed to drive them back, but at great cost, many species were lost. Many worlds became lifeless rocks. We have spent the time since then preparing for their return. And now they're coming back, Commander Yunji said. It was not a question. Yes, our scouts have detected their advance fleets moving toward this galaxy. They will arrive within months? Not years. We had hoped to have more time to prepare. Captain Teho frowned. Why are you telling us this? What can humans do against an enemy that threatens the entire galaxy? Bora chirped and projected new images. These showed Hyunwoo's workshop and the process of building her vision helmet. But the images also showed something else, the potential for the technology to be adapted for other purposes. Your neural interface technology is revolutionary, Elder Namsik explained. For the first time, we have a way to directly connect the minds of different species. Warriors from dozens of races could coordinate perfectly in battle. Scientists could share knowledge instantly across language barriers. The applications are endless. Admiral Sojin appeared on the screen beside Elder Namsik. She was another Drakmari, smaller than the Elder, but with battle scars marking her dark scales. More importantly, your people have shown something we had almost forgotten. You helped Bora not because you expected a reward, but because it was the right thing to do. That kind of compassion could inspire others who have grown tired of fighting. Commander Yunji looked around at her crew. They were all listening intently, understanding that they were being offered a choice that would change humanity's future forever. "What are you asking of us?" she said finally. Elder Namsik's expression became grave. "We offer humanity two paths. The first is safety. We can evacuate your people to protected worlds where the devourers cannot reach you. You would survive, but you would live as refugees. And the second path?" Hyanwu asked, though he already knew the answer. "Join us in the fight," Admiral Sojin said. "Share your technology and your wisdom. Help us forge a true alliance between all the free peoples of the galaxy. The road will be dangerous, and there is no guarantee of victory. But if we succeed, the galaxy will be safe for future generations." The command center was quiet as everyone considered the choice. Through her helmet, Bora watched the humans with hopeful eyes. She had seen what they were capable of when they chose to help rather than abandon those in need. Commander Yunji activated the long-range communication link to Earth. "I need to speak with President Dongmin immediately. We have a decision to make that will affect all of humanity." As they waited for the connection to Earth, Bora projected one final image. It showed the workshop where Hyunwoo had first placed the vision helmet on her head. But in this image, the helmet glowed with the light of hope, and around it stood humans and aliens working together as friends. The fleet waited in the darkness of space, 2,300 ships holding their protective formation around. One small station where a human mechanic had chosen to help a blind dragon. That simple act of kindness had opened a door to possibilities that none of them could have imagined. The quantum communication link to Earth took several tense minutes to establish. During the wait, Admiral Sojin shared more details about the coming war. The main screen showed tactical displays of devourer fleets moving through dark space toward their galaxy. Each fleet consisted of thousands of the life-draining machines, all working together with cold efficiency. "The last invasion cost us 70% of all known species," Admiral Sojin explained. "Entire star systems were left barren. We barely managed to drive them back to the void between galaxies." President Dongmin's face appeared on the screen. Transmitted from Earth's government center. She was a middle-aged woman with intelligent eyes and gray hair tied back in a simple style. Behind her, advisors and military leaders listened to the incredible conversation. "Commander Yunji has briefed me on the situation," President Dongmin said. "But I need to hear this directly from you. Are you really asking humanity to join a galactic war against machines that can destroy entire worlds?" Elder Namsik answered, with the patience of someone who had lived for centuries. "We are asking humanity to choose its own destiny. The devourers will come whether you join us or not. The question is whether your species will face them as refugees hiding in protected worlds or as warriors fighting for the freedom of all life." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "Mr. President, I've seen what these people can do. Their technology is incredible, but they're not conquerors. They're protectors. Bora showed me memories of dozens of species they've saved over thousands of years." Bora chirped in agreement and projected new images on the screen. These showed the hidden colonies where extinct species lived in safety, protected by Drakmari guardians. Worlds that appeared dead from the outside were actually thriving sanctuaries for refugees from previous devourer invasions. "The choice must be made quickly," Admiral Sojin added. "Our intelligence indicates the first devourer scouts will reach the outer systems within 3 months. We need that time to prepare defenses and coordinate our forces." President Dongmin conferred quietly with her advisors. The weight of the decision was enormous. Humanity had barely begun to explore their local region of space. Now they were being asked to help defend the entire galaxy. Dr. So-young spoke up from her position near Bora. "The neural interface technology is already proven to work between humans and Drakmari. If we can adapt it for other species, the communication possibilities alone could revolutionize how different races work together." Minho nodded enthusiastically. "The applications are endless. Instant translation, shared memories, coordinated actions. We could help species understand each other in ways that have never been possible before. Commander Yunji addressed the president directly. Ma'am, I've been in space for 20 years. I've seen a lot of different aliens, and most of them are just trying to survive like we are. These people aren't asking us to conquer anybody. They're asking us to help save everybody. Captain Tejo added his perspective. From a military standpoint, we're going to face this threat eventually anyway. Better to face it with allies than alone. President Dongmin was quiet for a long moment, studying the faces of the crew who had experienced this firsthand. Finally, she spoke. Elder Namsik, if humanity agrees to join this alliance, what would be expected of us specifically? Your neural interface technology would be shared with our scientists for development and mass production? The elder replied, human engineers and researchers would work alongside the greatest minds from dozens of species. Your military forces would be integrated into our defensive fleets. Most importantly, your perspective on cooperation and innovation would help guide our strategy. Admiral Sojin added, humans have shown something unique in how you approached young Bora's problem. Most species would have either ignored her suffering or tried to solve it using their own traditional methods. Humans looked at an impossible situation and invented a completely new solution. Bora moved to stand directly in front of the communication screen. Through her helmet, she projected one final set of images. These showed not the past or present, but possible futures. In one future, humanity lived safely on protected worlds while the galaxy burned around them. In the other, humans and aliens worked together to push back the Devourers and create a truly united galactic civilization. She's showing us what we could become, Haiyan-Wu said softly. Not just survivors, but builders of something better. President Dongmin nodded slowly. I've heard enough. The decision is made. The command center held its breath. Humanity chooses to fight, she declared. We will join your alliance and share our technology freely. Earth's resources and our people's ingenuity are at your disposal. The reaction from the alien fleet was immediate. Lights flashed on ships throughout the formation, and a sound like distant music came through the communication channels. It was the sound of thousands of different species expressing joy and welcome in their own ways. Elder Namsik bowed his great head respectfully. Welcome to the Galactic Alliance, humans of Earth. Together we will face the darkness and prevail. The next hours were a whirlwind of activity. Transport ships arrived to ferry human engineers and scientists to the Alliance's research vessels. Haiyan-Wu found himself at the center of it all, working with alien technicians to examine his vision helmet design and adapt it for mass production. Bora stayed close to his side throughout the process, serving as a living translator between human and alien minds. Her enhanced vision allowed her to see the electromagnetic patterns that represented thoughts and emotions in different species. She could literally see when communication was working and when misunderstandings occurred. She's become a bridge between all of us. Dr. So Young marveled as she watched Bora help a human engineer explain a complex concept to a crystalline alien scientist. Within days, the first production models of the neural interface helmets were ready for testing. Volunteers from a dozen different species tried the devices, and for the first time in galactic history, beings from completely different evolutionary paths could share thoughts and memories directly. The breakthrough came when a human pilot wearing the interface was able to perfectly coordinate with a Drakmari navigator to perform maneuvers that neither species could accomplish alone. Similar successes followed in engineering, science, and military tactics. This changes everything, Admiral Sojin reported to the Alliance Council. Our defensive capabilities have increased by orders of magnitude. More importantly, our different species are truly working as one for the first time. As preparations for the coming war intensified, Bora continued to grow. She was no longer the small, helpless creature Haiyan-Wu had found in the docking bay. Her wings had developed enough for short flights, and her scales had deepened to a rich purple-black. That marked her approaching adulthood, but she never forgot the human who had given her sight and hope. She spent her free time in his workshop, watching him create new inventions and solve impossible problems. The bond between them had become legendary throughout the fleet. The first Devourer scouts appeared exactly when the Alliance intelligence had predicted. They were detected at the edge of the galaxy, dark shapes moving between the stars like mechanical predators. But this time, they faced something they had never encountered before. A truly united defense. Human-designed neural interfaces allowed the Alliance fleet to move and fight as a single organism. Species that had never cooperated before worked together seamlessly. Strategies that combined the best tactics from dozens of different military traditions proved devastatingly effective against the Devourers. Rigid mechanical thinking, the scout fleets were destroyed completely, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The main Devourer invasion would be far larger and more dangerous. As the Alliance prepared for the greatest battle in galactic history. Hien-Wu stood in his workshop looking at the tools and parts that had started it all. Bora sat beside him, her vision helmet gleaming in the light from the workbench. "Do you think we'll win?" he asked her. Bora projected an image through her helmet interface. It showed the galaxy not as it was, but as it could be. Countless worlds where different species lived and worked together in peace, sharing knowledge and building wonders that no single race could create alone. "Yeah," Hien-Wu said with a smile. "I think we will." Outside, 2,300 ships prepared for battle, united by technology born from compassion and strengthened by the simple truth that no one should be left behind. The galaxy's greatest test was coming, but for the first time in 50,000 years, all free peoples would face it together. The blind dragon hatchling, who had arrived alone and afraid, had become the catalyst for the greatest alliance in cosmic history, and it all began with one human mechanic who refused to give up on someone who needed help.